Day's work for a day's bread. Increasing food prices. So why should this concern you? Ask yourself, what would you do if the price of basic commodities like milk, eggs, or bread went up by 10% in price every year? What if the price never stopped increasing? What will you do when it requires a full day's pay just to feed you and your family? Now, this question might seem ludicrous. Do you know how much food has increased in price in the past 2 years? Granted, this past year, 2018, saw a relatively small increase in food prices, which on average went up by 1.6%. But the year before that, 2017, saw an 8% increase in food prices. So ask yourself, how ludicrous is this question? For now, the food prices tend to increase due to some sort of financial crash such as that seen in 2008, where prices increased by almost 6.5%, or through the gradual devaluation of currency, aka inflation, as well as through man-made or natural disasters. But what will happen when food prices rise for none of the reasons mentioned, but because there's not enough food for everyone to eat? So, what will be the three main factors as to why food prices will rise? First is exponential population growth, seeing as in 2050 we are projected to be around 9.7 billion people, as opposed from the 7.6 that we are at today. Second is the decline in the amount of farmable land that is available, either through housing development or through desertification. And third is economic and political instability, seeing as whenever there is political chaos or an economic crash, key resources, like food, often have an inflated price due to the uncertainty that these sorts of situations tend to produce. Though, despite this doom and gloom scenario, there are solutions on the horizon. New ways of growing food are being developed, some of which are being covered by students in this class, as well as new agricultural techniques being tested as I speak. So what are these new developments that can potentially feed the world in the next 30 years? First, I would like to mention agricultural efficiency. Farmers have, for the past century, made incredible steps in increasing the amount of food produced, with less and less land to work with. In the last decade alone, there has been a 2.5% increase each year in agricultural productivity worldwide. Second is the use of technologies such as automation and photoimaging. These technologies allow farmers to plan fields and water cycles, reducing the amount of time and resources wasted. Third is the implementation of new agricultural techniques. These could be anything from vertical and rooftop farming to lab-grown meat that we've covered in previous weeks. So what ethical view do I think best applies to this situation? To me, egoism seems the most appropriate ethical lens for this issue, for the simple reason that not being able to feed yourself or your family will likely only end in one thing, and that is not a really pleasant idea. I do not think that anyone wants to die of starvation or see their family suffer. So what are my thoughts on the matter? I think that the factors mentioned above, political chaos, economic instability, will always be major factors in food pricing spikes. But soon I think that the increase in food price will be because the lack of food available compared with our population's rate of growth, as well as the rapidly decreasing amount of land available to farm. This, I think, will soon be the biggest factor in rising food prices. However, there is a chance that through development and implementation of some of, if not all of, the new ways of farming mentioned above, it will be possible to ensure that you and your family can eat without it costing a full day's wages. Thank you for your time.